Hello everyone, today I'm going to be showing off my 3D model viewer project. It's basically just a good interactive way for you modelers to show off your creations. It's pretty simple to get into. Once you build the project, you'll have a nice offline way to show your assets. That way, if you're in a place where you don't have access to the internet but you have your laptop, you can have this project and you can just launch it and you can still show your models in a nice interactive manner. But at the same time, if you wanted to, you can do a WebGL build of the project and put it on your website. There's tutorials online for how to put a Unity project into your website, and then you have on your website a nice interactive way to show off your models again. But it's a free / optional download for the project, and like I said, it's pretty easy to get into, and the link for the download will be in the description. But as I said, it's easy to get into for the 7th time. So let me just show you how you actually do that. So you'll see in your hierarchy you don't have many things, you just have these 3 things in your assets folder. You'll have models, scenes, scripts, and skyboxes. The only thing you really need to concern yourself with is the models folder. If you really wanted to, you can put a different skybox in. I just have this generic gray, but there is a black, a gray, and a white skybox, just as 3 base colors. You can make your own skybox, but that's outside the realms of this video. So the only folder you're really going to need to concern yourself with is this models folder. So you're going to just basically create a folder, throw your model and the textures you'll need for it in there. And so I'm just going to be demonstrating with this capsule. It'll be a little bit different than how I'm going to put the textures on this one, but it's still fairly simple. You can do it this way, but there's an easier way for whenever you actually import your own model. But these are just 2 empty sprites that I'm going to be saying are my textures, and this is my model. It'll say it, for me it says open prefab, but that's just because this is a Unity asset already. So for this, what we're going to do is you have the textures, you'll right click in this folder, go to create material, if I actually click it, and then I'm just going to call it capsule material, camel case. Then you're just going to put your textures wherever they need to be, and then on your actual model itself where those textures need to go, where the materials need to go, you'll see you have these sort of things, and you'll go to the mesh render, and under materials you expand that and you'll see where you need to put the materials. You may have multiple, you may just have the one. You'll just throw that material where it needs to go, and autosave will probably be on by default, otherwise you can just save. And we'll go to the hierarchy, and you see there's these 3 things, but once you expand it here, there's a few more things. You'll have host of all models, the main camera, user camera base, and auto camera base. These 2 are just empty transforms that you don't need to worry about. The main camera will have this canvas. It has these game objects, but again, you shouldn't have to mess with this. If you do, you can just hover over this and it'll tell you what things you need to put on them and like where they are, if for some reason that gets messed up. But again, you shouldn't have to concern yourself with any of that. The only thing you really need to mess with is this host of all models, and you won't actually need to mess with this thing at all. It'll have this model organizer on it. Again, don't need to mess with that. And these are just my example models. As you can see, the only thing that they really have is the actual model itself and an empty game object that has the model info script on it. So I'm going to show you how you're going to do that. I'll just click on host of all models, right click on it, create empty, and I'm just going to call this, if I can call it something, And you probably want a better name for it, but that's what I'm going with for now. I'm going to disable these for now. You'll want to actually delete these at the end before you actually build a project, because even though they're disabled, they will still show up in the project. Whenever you scroll through things, it'll still show them, so you're going to want to delete them. But once you go to capsule thingy, great name, you're going to just drag your model onto it, and it'll be parented to that. And then if it for some is offset in a bad place, like maybe it's way over here, you can just click W on the keyboard and you can move it to where you want it to be. This here's the camera view. This is what they'll actually see before they can rotate it. But make sure whenever you're moving it or rotating it, maybe it's off rotate, you can rotate it, and when you click E, you can rotate it. Just make sure that you're rotating this, the actual model itself, not the game object it's a part of. You're going to want to rotate the game object. But yeah, I'm going to just re-put this on 0 because that's actually what the center is going to be. And then the last thing you're going to need to know is you need to put on, as I showed you before, every one of these models has model info script on it. Just going to add component. You're going to type in model info, put it on there, and then you'll just put this in with the details you need. Put my name, project name. Sure, that works. You'll give whatever the model name for it is. Maybe it's a prop of some kind. You could put the prop name. Maybe if it's a character, you could put the name of the character. And then you can write a short-ish description of it. You can write a couple sentences of it, but not too much. So I'm just going to type in nonsense, because why not? And then last couple things you're going to need to do is you're going to take the model and you're going to drag it onto this model component here, and just click on it and drag it to there. And then the last thing is you see this see underside option. This was not originally part of the project. I just added it recently. Basically, I was told that some models and props don't have some sides like actually put on there, like there might be nothing behind it. So with the see underside option, it actually restricts whoever's viewing it to not see underneath. So let's say if it's this back that's actually not doesn't have anything on it, you're going to want to rotate the capsule so that the underside is on the bottom, and then if you need to, you can move it down a little bit. And then the last thing you'll do is you'll uncheck this. The should see underside is if it's on by default. That means that if you don't do anything, you can see the underside. If you don't want them to see the underside, just uncheck it. And that is pretty much it. I'm just going to turn these on so you can see all the different ones. And then I'm going to play the project. As you can see, you have a nice model viewer, and there's all these different things that tells you for how this works. It gives the artist name, project name, model of it, and then that description. And as you can see, you can zoom in, you can zoom out. There is a restriction for how far you can zoom out, but don't worry, you can reset that. And if for some reason, it happens a lot when if you rotate too much, it might kind of get out of sync with how you want it to rotate. So you can just press S and it goes back to the default. And then you just press A and D, and you can cycle through all the different models that you have pretty nicely. And if you're trying to show off the project and it's like, man, I'd really like this thing, but I can't see all of, I would like to see it all without all this text, you can just disable the text. You can still use all the different controls. This is also something that you can't see the underside of, so you can see that I'm just rotating it. You can enable the text. You can press Q and E if you want to. And that will basically let you go up and down. On the models that you can't see the underside, you can't actually go further down than what the default is. That way you can't like go under and somehow still see the underside. Let's see, I can go further down and further up on this one. And then if you press W, it resets it back to where it should go. But see, I can't see the underside of this one. Man, what an accurate description. And then if you want to, you can also turn on auto mode, and that just basically auto rotates everything. It'll go to the next one once it finishes a single rotation. And again, if you don't want the text to be there, you can just disable the text. But yeah, all the mouse input no longer works. To stop it, you could just go disable. But yeah, as you can see, it's pretty easy to work with and doesn't take too much. And actually, you can even put in the animations, and it can play the animations. You can't control what animations it's playing, but if you just put them all into a single file of animation and go into the animator component, and if you make a state and just make that loop of all the animations the default state, it will just cycle through all the animations. So yeah, if you have the animations for it, it works too. Just the last thing you need to do is remember, if you're using this, delete all the ones that were there by default, or else they will show up in the project. But yeah, that's basically it. Reminder that the link is in the description. It is a free download or optional donation if you want to support me, but otherwise, that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching.